Good evening.
How's it going, brother?
Fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We've had quite the last couple of weeks, dude.
Absolutely, man. I'm still riding the high from
Yeah.
from the whole experience, from the trip, from my wedding um,
Yeah.
that you officiated, and it was just so beautiful to have so many people there that that love us, and showed us so much love, and just yeah, still feeling into gratitude for that whole experience. I mean, had a nice honeymoon, stayed on the island for a few extra days, and had some friends there, and you were there, and big group of us for a couple of days after the wedding, and then we went off on our own. And man, I couldn't have asked it for it to go on any better, honestly. Like so many synchronicities and things falling into place, and obviously so a lot of anxiety leading up to it. And you just realize that it was all unnecessary, after the fact. But yeah, everything was just pretty much perfect. There's no other word I have for it. So
It really was, dude. I mean, I've been to a few weddings, I've officiated a few weddings. I mean, they were all great. Um, I've enjoyed them all. There was something super special about yours. There were just like, certain moments throughout the day that they were just so beautiful and so amazing. And again, that's at most weddings, but saying that, like, there were a few stories, man, that really just kind of made this one a bit unique. Roxanne's family, and I mean, just the experiences that we had together, the people that were there, and how many of them I knew and how close I am to a lot of them. Yeah, dude, I had such a great time and super grateful and humbled um, by being able to officiate and kind of be with you guys. And dude, it was so great that like our rooms ended up being so close to one another. Everyone else is on the opposite side, dude, and me and you were like right next to each other. It was cool.
yeah. Yeah, give
Um,
me space to get ready because obviously I
yeah,
got kicked out of my room, so understandably so.
yeah, yeah. Um, and so we're here, we're back, and when thinking about what to talk about today, a topic that has kind of been on my mind is the topic of desire. It kind of came up in one of our previous podcast episodes. I was talking about desire and attachment and stuff like that, and I just feel like it's a concept that is misunderstood by some people, including myself at times. And so I wanted to break it down in kind of a unique way that I've never heard before, and uh, and it's kind of new territory for me to break it down in this way. And so I'm excited to kind of see what comes from my heart, and see what we can get into today.
I love it.
Yeah, and so I want to start it off by kind of painting a picture for people, and inviting people kind of into a little exercise. And so for those people listening, I want you to close your eyes. And for those of you that haven't closed your eyes, yes, you too, close your eyes. And I want you to think about something that you desire, something that you want to attract into your life. And I want you to pull back from it and be the observer. And so you are the observer of it, meaning that in this moment you don't want it, you don't desire it, you're just observing it for what it is, whatever it is. You're a curious observer. You're just viewing it from different angles, perspectives, like, ooh, look at this thing. And now I want you to start feeling into a desire for it. Like, now I want this thing. This is something that I really want. I want to attract it into my life. But not from a place that you need it. You just want it and you're okay not having it. It's just like, oh, this would be cool. If I could have this would be cool. And now I want you to act as if though you need it. Like I need this thing. And if I don't get it, life's not going to be okay. I'm not going to feel whole. I'm not going to feel satisfied. I need this thing. This is really important. I need it. This moment isn't enough without it. Feel into that for a second. And come back. All right, cool. So I wanted to start with that because we're going to be breaking down in this episode pretty much like those kind of three states. Again, from a different lens though. But I wanted you to feel that. I wanted you to understand that you can be those three things, right? You can be the observer. You can have a desire and not need it, not be attached to it, not identify with it. Or you can have a desire and really attach to it and really identify with it, right? And they're all possible and they're all able to exist. And so the way I want to kind of break the data, the way I want to break down today's episode is into three sources of desire, right? Three places that desire can come from. And the three places are the ego, the heart, and the soul. Okay. And so we'll start off with the ego. I think this is like the most familiar one. Um, with the ego, the wanting comes from lack. It's illusory lack because there is no lack, but it comes from the idea of lack. It comes from fear and it comes from comparison. And I think this is something that a lot of people can relate to. I know I can relate to it. I know in my life there have been many times that I've desired something um, based off the idea that, like, oh, I don't have this thing, I need it. And like the desire actually turns into this like need. My ego takes over, and it's like, oh, like I need this thing now, and in this moment, I don't feel like it's enough. I don't feel like enough. I've also felt what it's like to fear not having something. Like, oh my god, I need this thing. I feel fearful. And dude, I've definitely felt what it's like to compare myself to something or someone and be like, oh, like in order for me to feel like I'm enough or at least equal with this person, I need to get this thing. um, Dan, you ever felt this?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It was interesting going through that exercise and kind of feeling the difference between um, where it's coming from.
Yeah. What can you explain kind of like the feelings?
Yeah, you feel into something in the first one that you described, almost like a little bit of excitement. Something you desire, something that gets you excited, like just get a little pumped.
Like as the observer or as the
No,
what you
no,
desire?
just the thing that you desire. Just
Got
to
you.
think
Cool.
about the thing that you desire. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and then as you kind of sit back and be the observer, then you kind of become a little bit detached and say like, oh, it's interesting that I want this. It's interesting that I, am drawn to this, or that this is in my headspace. And so kind of remove myself and my emotion from that desire. And then in the last one, almost like anxiety for not having it, or like a desperation feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude, makes complete sense, man. I mean, that's a textbook explanation, pretty much, dude. And so I'm really cool that you were able to feel into that. I mean, I can imagine some people would struggle with that exercise. I know I would at a certain point in my life. But yeah, that's pretty much how those different states do feel, right?
Mhm.
And to be able to be aware of that is super important. Um, and the one you were talking about the anxiety, that's pretty much what we're talking about now. That's the ego's uh, idea of desire, right? And like ego desire has like a grasping quality to it, right? It's kind of saying like, if I don't get this, something is wrong with me, right? Like I'm unworthy. Like I need this thing. Something is missing in my life. Um, and because that's not true, right? Because that's a lie, then the emotional guidance system tells us what we need to know, right? It makes us feel anxious. It makes us feel unworthy. It makes us feel all these things that aren't true to let us know that what we are believing right now, the story we're telling ourselves right now, is bullshit. It's not true, man. You don't need this thing, right? Um, something else that the ego does is like it kind of reinforces like a separate self, like this idea of a separate self. And so it's like, I need to gain more status. I need to feel more secure, right? This idea of like, I need to make sure that like I matter, right? Um, and this is something that I think we're witnessing on a global scale right now. These people that have apparently run different countries, I feel like are doing this, right? Like, look at
Yeah.
me, I matter. I'm more powerful than you. Look at me go, and all this bullshit, right? It's a perfect fucking example of the ego just expressing itself in the most insane fucking ways. Um, and so what else? And so the ego wants, oh, okay, cool. This is really cool to think about. So like ego's desire, like it wants outcomes, right? And it's like terrified of not achieving its desire, right? And so it's not one of those things where it's okay if it doesn't get it. It's like, no, dude, it's pissed, right? It's like, no, I need to get this thing. And it'll do whatever it takes. It'll lie. It will not be authentic. It will not be vulnerable. It will cheat. It will do all the things it needs to do in order to achieve its outcome, right? And again, I felt what this is like. Feels like shit. You get the illusory feeling when you achieve it, like, oh my God, it was worth it. And sometimes the biggest lie, which is like, oh, I guess that's what I need to do in order to achieve my desires, which is so toxic, dude. So
Yeah.
toxic. Yeah. Um, and then I feel like the tricky part, like of the ego's desires, like it often like disguises itself as the other two sometimes, right? So it often disguises itself as desire of the heart or desire of the soul. It's like a master of disguise, dude. And we'll talk more about that because, something we'll talk about a little bit later is the fact that sometimes you can have all three, right? Like for the one thing. And that can be super confusing, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And so next we'll talk about like desire from the heart, right? And so this is a little bit warmer, dude. It's more relational. It can be like this longing for connection, for love, for um kind of belonging in a way. Um, the heart's desire can be incredibly pure, or is incredibly pure, but also can get like really sticky when the ego gets involved. And I feel like for most people, when it comes to the experience of love, especially romantic love, and when I say romantic love, like in a relationship of like intimate love, I feel like for most people, if not everyone, our first experiences of this is pretty much egoic desire and egoic love, right? Disguised as the heart. I know it was for me. I know it pretty much is for everyone that I observe. I'm not saying that there's no one that, went straight to the heart love and soul love, but I think it's part of our journey, to be honest with you. I think it's really important that we have that. It kind of teaches us what real love really is. We get to experience what egoic love is. It's not even love, but I have to use that term just so I understand and people understand, right? Like what egoic kind of love is, and then what real love actually is. Um, I'm sure you've experienced this at some point in your life, right?
Absolutely. I think the thing that comes to mind is the very first relationships you have, like middle school, high school, and how devastating it was when they broke it off or whatever it ended. And just, yeah, like you said, how toxic it can be, that feeling of desperation, like, oh my God, this person is leaving, or this person doesn't love me, or and you feel like you put everything into it, and you feel like it's the end of the world kind of thing. Even at a young age, I mean, I felt that for sure. In my first long-term relationship, when I was in college, it was yeah, very rough before I kind of understood um, if there is a true definition or true meaning of love.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I had the exact same experience, bro. It took me many relationships to get to a place where I truly understood what love was, you know? And I think like in this type of experience, when the ego infiltrates like this type of desire, like heartful desire, and puts on the costume of the heart, I think this is where like attachment is like lives the most. You know what I mean? And that's what I felt anyway. I remember like in my earlier relationships, I would Man, I would be so jealous. I would be very dominating. I would lie. I would cheat. I would do everything in order to hold on to this person because the story I was telling myself was that this person is the source of my love, and there is like a hole within me. Like I am not whole. I am a half of a whole, and this other person is the other half, and without them I'm empty. There's an empty part of myself, right? And again, this is, fucking love songs would teach me this, and observing other people's relationships would teach me this, and movies would teach me this. I'm just surrounded by all this bullshit that I think is real and I think is love. And really, it's just like the ego, and my attachment to this idea of like unworthiness. And it was rough, dude. But saying that, super grateful, very grateful for those lessons, because without it, I wouldn't be where I am, and I wouldn't be in the most amazing, illuminating relationship I've ever had in my entire life. You know what I mean? And feel so comfortable and not lost in it, right? Um, and
Yeah,
so,
kind of
yeah,
interesting when you kind of bring that to your awareness, and then you are watching these movies or listening to these songs, and then how often that comes up. You know, like how often they say like, well, you know, I need this person to be whole, or you know, that's like the standard saying, or but just that concept just comes up over and over again, and like you said, in movies and songs. And once you start to pick up on it, it's like, holy shit! It's like everything, every single song, every single movie. I mean, not every single one, but the majority really kind of reinforces that idea, which is kind of crazy.
yeah, dude, it's really crazy, man. Um, I think about it. I think about it a lot, dude. Like when I'm observing other people's relationships and stuff like that, and they just think that's what love is. Ultimately, man, like the difference between love and attachment is like love wants the other person to flourish, whatever that means, whether they're with you or not with you. Doesn't matter. You just want what is best for that other person, and you'll support them and you'll comfort them and you'll do whatever it takes. That's it. Attachment wants the other person to stay. I need them here with me, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure they're here with me. Right. Um, that's the biggest difference, right? And but like in that state of attachment, we don't want to hear that because we think that the attachment is love. And we're like, no, man, like this is love. Like, look at what I'm doing. I love this person so much that I would do this and I would do that. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's not love at all, bro. Like, you're
Mm-hmm.
changing yourself to try and please this person. You're changing your true self. You're lying. You're deceiving. You're man. That's not what love is. And I'm glad I learned that, and I hope people listening can relate to what I'm saying. And maybe some people that are listening are in the middle of what we're talking about. Some people that are listening maybe have learned that lesson and they're pushing past. But it's something that is it's really tricky and it's really hard. You have to truly understand your worth. You have to truly understand that you are whole. And that doesn't mean that you're never going to not feel whole again. Again, life is momentary. There is no, oh, like I'm going backwards or anything like that, right? Like there is no forwards and backwards. There are moments where a part of you is going to lie to you and tell you that you're unworthy. And maybe you express yourself in a way you don't want. That's okay, right? And so the goal is to just understand what is happening and understand what the lies are and what the truth is and where you're coming from. And so the third desire is the desire from the soul that we're going to talk about, right? And so this one is quieter. It doesn't shout. It's even quieter than the heart, right? I think the heart also has like a pretty passionate kind of like energy to it, right? The soul doesn't. It's much quieter. Um, the soul's desire is less about getting something and more about remembering who we really are, right? And Maharaji was Ram Dass's guru. For those of you that don't know who Ram Dass is, make it happen quick. The dude's a beast. He's got some great books. Check it out. He's an animal. Very cool person with great lessons to teach. and his guru's name was Maharaji. And Maharaji used to say that like people come for all kinds of reasons. And when he says comes, like come to earth, right? It's like people come to earth like for all kinds of reasons, and the soul's reason is always the same: to wake up, right? And so like that's the desire of the soul. The desire of the soul is to wake up, right? It's to help us use this spiritual experience, use this earthly experience to remember who it is, right? And to help us remember who we are, right? Because ultimately we are a soul inside a body. And so, to think of it, another way, like it has a quality of recognition rather than acquisition. It's not trying to acquire anything. It's trying to recognize who it is. And a lot of people, including myself at times, like mistake this for like trying to achieve things in life. Like, oh, like I'm on my journey in life and I need to figure out who I am. So like let me go like acquire all these things. That can be confusing sometimes because like experiences, we use them, or people feel like they use them to realize who we are. You don't actually need experiences to realize who you are. They are great and they are helpful and they are beautiful, but ultimately recognizing your soul does not require experience, which is super cool, right? Something that really resonates with me is there's a teacher called Bentinho Massaro, and he gives like a pretty cool example of pretty much what we're talking about now, right? And what we're talking about now is like the soul's desire, right? The soul's desire is like a seeking. It's like a universal seeking, right? Think of it this way. This is the best way I can describe it, right? It's like a universal seeking. It's like a snail, right? A snail is going from point A to point B. Snail has no fucking idea why it's going from point A to point B, but it's going, dude. It's going there, right? And that is like us. We are the snail. We are going from point A to point B. We really have no idea where we're going or how to get there, right? But we have this seeking within us, right? That is the soul's desire, that seeking. And we can tap into that and we can trust that, right? I'll open it up. Dan, anything to say?
Dude,
How's
yeah,
going
good
nuts?
question, man. I mean,
How's
I
going?
I got a few things that come to mind. Just not necessarily related to what you were speaking about in general, but just the idea of this desire that can come from multiple sources, the heart, the ego and the soul. I think you can have a desire and it can go from one to the other. Like the same desire can go from egoic desire to the heart's desire to the potentially the soul's desire, and it's not necessarily stuck in one of those. It's not like, oh, this desire comes from this one place. I think you can kind of go back and forth, which is kind of interesting to feel into.
100%, dude. 100%. And that can get confusing, bro.
Yeah.
It can get really confusing, right? So like take an example. Like let's create an example. So like let's say like you want like a deep romantic relationship, for example, right? And so like the ego wants validation, right? Within that relationship. The heart wants genuine intimacy, like desire. Let's just change the word want to desire. So the ego desires validation, the heart desires genuine intimacy, and the soul desires to use that love or that relationship as like a portal to the divine,
Mm.
right? And all of those can exist. And I think they all do exist. I mean, I've been with Kat for 15 years and I still feel all three of those, dude. You know what I'm saying? Dude, there's moments where I just want validation. Like there is a part of me that's like, notice me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like love me, right? The heart wants genuine intimacy. And again, I feel that, dude, for sure. And what I think is intimacy may be different from what Kat thinks is intimacy, right? Which is super interesting. And then I definitely have the moments where I'm just like, all right, like this chick is my greatest teacher. Like this chick is my mirror, dude. She's showing me all the parts of me that I need to purify in order to truly know myself and become God, right? And so I definitely understand that, dude. That's a really good point.
You want to go back
Uh,
to the snail?
the snail? No, we're good with the snail. Yeah, I mean, the snail is pretty much that, right? Again, like, I would say the snail is the soul, the soul's desire. Like, think of yourself as a snail, And I mean, for me, this really helps me, right? It's kind of like understanding that underneath it all, right? Underneath it all, we do have this universal seeking. I feel like, call it what you want, bro. God, the universe, the creator is in us, dude. We are a piece of that, right? We are a piece of God. We are a piece of the universe. We are a piece of the creator. And we are here to experience. And as we experience, God experiences, the universe experiences, right? And so we have this innate seeking. We're moving, right? And so the snail is like for me a really good representation, dude. Just this like little snail with like the, he's got like the little shell on his back, just moving. Like, dude, where the fuck are you going? You
Who
know what
knows?
I mean? And so, I guess what I want to share about is like the spiritual work isn't to kill the ego layer, right? And it's definitely not to kill the heart layer.
Mhm.
It's just to see through them, right? To like what the soul is really after. And I would say also to say like what the heart is really after. I think they're both important. And again, I'm not saying the ego isn't important, but I think like really focusing on the heart and on the soul is going to be much nicer. Right? Because the soul knows what it's looking for, right? It knows that what it's looking for isn't actually in an object. It's not actually in this physical world, right? What it's looking for. And that's why, for a lot of people, when they feel like they're able to connect to their soul, is when they're pretty much removing themselves from this world, right? They remove themselves from their senses. They go inside instead of focusing on the outside, right? Um, and so just to kind of wrap it up before we kind of move on to like other ideas, right? But like, so the ego desire, like when the ego desire is the driver, you suffer and you cause suffering. At the same time, what can be like confusing is that you also cause happiness, right?
Mhm.
Because pretty much you're telling yourself that, like, oh, I need this thing to be happy. And so when you get that thing, you have momentary happiness, right?
Mhm.
But again, like you're setting yourself up for constant suffering, right? And I would say that the goal isn't to have happiness. The goal is to have, I don't know, let's choose another word like peace or joy, right? And let's just say that joy and peace have nothing to do with what is happening in the outside world, right? Just for this conversation and to understand it, right? When the heart is the driver, you love. And when the soul is the driver, you move through the world like water, right? Just flowing, dude. Flowing, fully engaged, fully present, and not holding on to anything because you understand that I already have everything I want. Why do I need to hold on to this thing? Right. Um, yeah, that's what comes up for
Yeah,
me.
I do have an experience, a story I'd like to share with this whole idea of desire. The thing that comes up for me is, I mean, there is that. I don't know if anyone's heard the concept of, get what you want by letting go. Um, but yeah, I was. It's been a few years now, past, but one of my best friends was getting married, and I wouldn't say he and I had a falling out necessarily, but I was disappointed to hear I wasn't asked to be in the wedding party. It has to be a groomsman in the wedding. Um, and like, so like the egoic desire there made me feel not that great about it. And so I was kind of struggling with it. I was like, we go way back. We've had so many cool experiences together. Like, why, you know? And then finally, I came to a place of peace, and I was just happy for him for getting married, and excited to be invited to the wedding. And I can't remember how long it was before the actual date of the wedding, but he calls me up like it might have been a couple weeks or a week before, and he's like, "Hey man, like I don't know what I was thinking, but before that, I completely came to peace. I was like, okay, this is fine. Like I'm just gonna be happy for him." And but yeah, he calls me up and he's like, "I don't know what I was thinking. Like I need you there by my side." And again, go back into the egoic, and I got like really excited, but at the same time, I kind of felt like some peace, and obviously being there was super special, and standing next to him was very special. But yeah, I just wanted to share that experience because it kind of felt very related to the topic.
Dude, I really appreciate you sharing that experience, dude. And yeah, it's very related. I mean, and that's the crazy thing, right, dude? It's like I've had that experience many times. I'm sure people can relate who are listening. Um, I mean, I've had that experience so many times, like when I lose something or when I misplace something right? Or like misplace it. And I've learned this lesson now, so now I don't give a shit. But like I used to like get like, oh my God, like, where's this thing? And like anxious and like worry about it. And then bro, as soon as I would let go of it, it's like fucking right in front of me. I'm like, what the Um, and so like now I learned the lesson where it's like, all right, obviously don't need to worry. And so just let it go straight away. And when it comes kind of thing. But yeah, dude, it's a very real lesson. And it's crazy too, like you said, it's like you have that experience, maybe you kind of, you learn the lesson, but then like as soon as you get what you want, it's so easy to like get back into it, dude. You know what I mean? And just attach and all that type of shit. Life's crazy like that. um and so like I guess I would say like the practice for us is like learning to recognize the voice of each one, right? So the ego, the heart, and the soul. Again, it's not about getting rid of them. um, and also noticing how they feel in the body, because they definitely all have a different feeling, right? And again, if you want to use the emotional guidance system, you got to become aware of the feeling, like what's going on, right? Another thing about desire is like I said this in an earlier episode, but I'll say it again. I think it's important. It's like desire isn't the cause of suffering. And I think a lot of people, especially people that have gotten deep into Buddhist texts, think that that's the case. And it's just not the case. And like the Buddhist text doesn't even say that. It explains it so differently. But I think people take it as that. It's like attachment to desire is suffering, right? Desire, you can't not desire. It's impossible to not desire, right? Desiring not to desire is a desire. It's just, you cannot escape it, right? So I don't think the focus, I know the focus is not to try and not desire, it's just to be aware of where your desires are coming from and your relationship to them, right? That's going to be really helpful for all of us. And so, a practice that I would have for everyone listening today is to sit with one desire you're carrying right now, right? So, like, think about something that you desire in your life, something you would like to attract into your life. And then just ask yourself, like, can I want this and be okay if it doesn't come, right? And it's okay, whatever comes up. Just notice what comes up, right? Like, if you notice the like tightening of the body and like, no, I'm not okay if it doesn't come. It's like, oh, all right, cool. Just like notice that, right? And then you can play with it and like, can you let that go? Can you let that feeling go and realize that this moment is perfectly whole and you are perfectly whole and worthy without that thing? You don't actually need that thing, right? This is a really cool exercise. And ultimately, something that has really changed my life is like being very aware about using the word need.
Mhm.
Like, need is an attachment word, right? And if we're being honest with ourselves, like, what do we actually need? I mean, even people say, oh, I need water and I need air. And it's like, well, if you want to live, yes, you need those things, right? But even those things, it's like you have to want to live in order to need those things, right? And so it's like, I'm not saying you don't need them. Most of us want to live. And so, yes, we need them to live. But yeah, I mean, be very aware and present with using the word need because it's a trap straight into attachment, man, as soon as you throw that word out there.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, be very mindful of your language.
Yeah,
Um,
that's something that we've spoken about many times and something I'm working on. But I admire your ability to choose certain words and language very intentionally.
Yeah, I mean it it takes practice, bro. Like the amount of times that I would like when I was first like reprogramming, the amount of times I would say need and I'd be like, nope, not need, want, desire. I would like remind myself again and again and again. But I feel like it has to happen, right? As we continue to come to new awareness, our language has to change in order to match our new awareness. And it takes some reprogramming for sure. And like radical authenticity really helps that. And by radical authenticity, I mean what I just described. Like if you say something that you didn't actually mean, then correct yourself then and there out loud in front of everyone. It's okay, right? Reprogram in front of everyone. It's okay. Um, and so, I mean, that feels pretty good. Um, is there anything else that you think we should talk about before I kind of close this out?
I don't think so. I said the things that came to my mind. So
Cool. Sweet. Awesome. All right, cool. So in order to close this out, yeah, so like you are not your desires, right? I think that's really important. If you think you are your desires, then you will identify, you will attach, and you will suffer. You don't need to be ashamed of your desires or judge yourself for your desires. Again, desires are a universal truth. We are here to seek. We are seeking, and that seeking is a desire. It causes desires, right? And so my invitation to everyone is to notice them, be aware of them, ask where are they coming from, and what is your relationship to them. This process will really help you purify where your desires are coming from and ultimately allow you to suffer less and be at peace more. And so, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We love you guys, and we'll see you again soon.
Love you.